Welcome to Mock the Mock, where I take a look at someone else's mock draft, and you're not going to believe this next part. And I'm mocking, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. Got a great one for you today. We're going to be heading over to Yahoo Sports, taking a look at Nate Tice and Charles McDonald's mock draft. I'm a huge fan of Nate Tice ever since he was over at The Athletic. Now he's over here at Yahoo Sports. Got to give a special thanks to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. More on them a little bit later, but let's go ahead. Get into this sucker with pick one. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans, and they're going Cam Ward, quarterback out of the U, baby, the U. And I'm going to read this first one. This is Charles McDonald's pick. The Titans need help at quarterback, which in this scenario comes in the form of Ward, and then it just kind of talks about Ward a little bit. The Titans I feel like this pick is getting traded, but if they stick it and pick it, do they still just say, hey, okay, fine, let's go quarterback? I'm fascinated. I'm really fascinated with what the Titans are going to do, and if they do stick with this pick, I'm just not sure what avenue that they may go. Do they just say, screw it, we're going to take a Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter? Or they're like, you know what? Fine. If no one wants to trade up for a quarterback, we're going to take these quarterbacks off the board. Screw you guys. We don't believe in the mailman anyway. So I'm very fascinated. We got the Cleveland Browns. They're going to go with Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. Yeah, sure. You bring back Myles Garrett. He's getting paid a lot of money. But the pass rush across from him, it's not like it's ideal. It's just, it's not. You got what, Ogbo, he's still there. They brought in Joe Tryon. You saw some fun things from Isaiah McGuire, but like, I could definitely see if they're not in on quarterback, or if they're not in on any quarterback other than Ward, I certainly could see them still sticking with like going with a Carter or even a Travis Hunter. It's really between those two. Matter of fact, we got the Giants next. I'm curious Charles McDonald, he's going to have the Giants pick. He went with quarterback for the Titans. I imagine he's going quarterback for the Giants. Let's just go ahead. Let's cut to the chase. What do we got here? Oh no, we got the Giants going with Travis Hunter, corner / wide receiver out of Colorado. I guess what's good for me ain't good for thee. The Giants land arguably the best player in the entire draft. Hunter's best NFL position is probably corner, which, yeah, they brought in Paulson Adebo, but more work needs to be done at that corner position. In a world where the Giants pass on quarterback, Hunter would make a lot of sense here. I just don't think Giants are passing on quarterback. I just don't. I think they're going to get a veteran option, whether that's Russ, I think it's Russ, because I think Aaron Rodgers goes to Seattle or to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson sounds like, hey, a lot of bridges may have been burned in Pittsburgh, so I think he's going elsewhere. The place that makes sense to me is the Giants, because I mean, this team's going to, first and foremost, they need to be competitive next year for people to keep their jobs. But you could still get a quarterback in that process. However, if you're just focused on keeping your jobs, then to hell with quarterback, we'll figure it out next year. Let's try to win some games and look like we're going in the right direction. So I guess Travis Hunter would make sense in that regard. Which now, Shedeur Sanders, the fall begins. We got pick 4, and okay, the Raiders move up and they get Shedeur Sanders. Okay, maybe the fall isn't quite here. Maybe it's not quite here, but you got to trade here. New England, I think New England could be a prime trade down candidate for really for anybody looking to move up to get Shedeur. Maybe you make a case for, there it is, Cooper Kupp officially released. I'm just sitting here looking at free agency news. Don't mind me. But you can make a case, maybe a team like, I don't know. The Jet. I don't know how many teams are really in on quarterback anymore. I mean, you're really just looking at like maybe the Saints. The Saints, hey, with Loomis there, the Saints, they've been known to go and get their guy. If they're like, okay, cool, we got Derek Carr for a year, but that ain't a plan. Let's go ahead and get a rookie quarterback and get this team to being cheaper. So the Saints, probably not the Jets, but never say never, I suppose. But they're not moving up. If anything, I think for the Patriots to trade down, and it's not ideal because if Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter are on the board, you probably want to stick it and pick. But I think Shedeur needs to be on the board, or Shedeur needs to be on the board for them to move down. Because I could see Vegas moving up, being like, okay, well, we got some day 2 picks. We could pitch one, move up, get a quarterback, and sit him behind Geno Smith, who's there for another year. Just, again, one more year on that contract. Before we get to pick 5, I do want to shout out the sponsor of today's video. Our friends over at Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play weekly best ball, or my favorite, higher or lower on player stats. You could do that whether it's football, basketball, baseball, cricket, golf, I suppose. They had higher or lower on 40 times at the combine. I'm sure there's going to be some fun NFL draft props there. But if you do download the app, you best sign up with promo code Broshmo, because they'll match your first deposit up to $1,000 reduced. It's a phenomenal offer, and I'm here offering it to you. So take a gander, take a look at Underdog Fantasy. But as always, play responsibly, play within your means. We got pick 5 being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mason Graham, listen, he's going to be in every mock draft after just looking at how they approach free agency. Mason Graham just seems to make the most sense, get a deep rotation on that defensive line. New England Patriots, pick 6. We got Tetairoa McMillan going to the Patriots here. And it really feels like after the free agency, they're going to probably go offense. The question is that going to be offensive line, which it could be Kelvin Banks. It could be Will Campbell. Armand Membu, you'd be switching sides with. So, because like you got Morgan Moses playing right tackle. Or do they go the wide receiver route with the Tetairoa McMillan? Which Tet, man, his projection right now when it comes to the draft, it's all over the place for the most part. Like I've seen him go as low as like wherever the Chargers are at, 22, I think. I've seen him go that low before. And again, the NFL draft, you never know what will happen. It is in the realm of possibility. But Patriots, they get a pass catcher here. I think they're going to have to do that via the draft. Though they may sign said Cooper Kupp, who is now officially released. Pick 7. This is the Jets. What do we got here? Armand Membu going to the Jets. Tackle out of Missouri. I actually like this one quite a bit. I mean, Aaron Glenn, you just saw from being the DC over at Detroit, like, hey, we stacked this offensive line and they did wonders for us. Like we have the most feared run game in the NFL. It allowed our signal caller, allowed Jared Goff to go out there and be really good. It sets up the play action. So I could see them doing that because like you could, if you were just to on paper take a look at the offensive line for the Jets, there's a reasons to be encouraged, but you look at the right tackle spot and you're like, that's probably the final piece of the puzzle because you got Fashanu, then you got Simpson, Tipman, and then Elijah Vera Tucker. So it's like you feel good at 4 of the 5 spots, assuming some of those guys take a step up in play. You're looking to cement right tackle, and Membu would do that. You're not making him switch sides of the offensive line. There's a variety of ways that I think the Jets could go, and this is one of them. Carolina Panthers, they're going to go with Mikael Williams, defensive line out of Georgia. Mikael Williams currently having his pro day today. That's right, I'm recording this Wednesday. Wednesday is usually a bulk recording day for me because, well, Thursdays and Fridays are pretty jam-packed for me. What can I say? I have 3 kids. It is what it is. But Mikael Williams, edge rush, that's kind of big for the Panthers. Like I don't mind Patrick Jones as a rotation player, but listen, DJ Wonham and Clowney, even though Clowney playing good football, it's like that really doesn't do enough for me. It doesn't really tip the scale. I think they still need to go out and get another pass rusher to just help out what they've already accomplished with the defensive interior. You like the NFL draft. Matter of fact, you love the NFL draft, which means you're going to love my draft guide. If you want to know every player your team drafts or even signs as an undrafted free agent, then this is for you. My draft guide updates every day, and you'll be able to see those updates in real time as I add new evals and player backgrounds. It'll have analytics from this year and last year. It'll have the pro day and combine numbers. It'll even have my notes from the senior and shrine bowl. It's a one-time purchase of $30 via PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. You can check out the pinned comment or the description if you want to follow those links. And when you do purchase it, please be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to require your email. Don't make me hunt it down because I will hunt you down. I will find you and I'll make sure you get your money's worth. Anywho, thanks for supporting the channel. Pick 9, New Orleans Saints are going with Will Johnson, corner at Michigan. And I love Will Johnson. He's going to have a private workout. He won't be healthy by Michigan's pro day, which is in like 10 days, 9 days, unfortunately. And there are a lot of questions, which could lead to Will Johnson's fall. Paulson Adebo, he's now with the Giants. Lonnie Taylor's kind of been like whatevs. Like he's solid. He works inside and outside, but you're looking for a true outside boundary corner to pair up with Kool-Aid McKinstry. And Will Johnson can be that, certainly. I do think they might be active when it comes to the offensive line. You still got Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell available here. So I definitely think that's up for grabs. And then we got pick 9. Chicago Bears go with Will Campbell. Speaking of which, I figured Ashton Genty on the board. This is probably where they're going to go and get him. I mean, if he's available at 10, then shoot. Just fist pump and call it a day. But Will Campbell, this leads me to believe, okay, then we're moving Braxton Jones. I mean, dude, Cam Robinson, still a free agent out there. Again, recording this Wednesday. Free agency doesn't open up technically for another hour. So Cam Robinson could be on the move and could go a variety of different places. But I mean, dude, any team that picks up Braxton Jones, you're probably going to pick him up and extend him. It's kind of where I'm at. I don't know, I think I'd rather go with Genty here. Which is kind of wild to say running back over tackle, but I already feel like they've done a solid job at tackle to take a guy in Will Campbell who has very many question marks when it comes to arm length. Well, it's not really a question. It's really just a question. Can he hold up in the NFL? I don't like him at guard. I've been very adamant about that, but we'll see. Saw someone pitch center for me. Or for him, and I'm like, I don't know about that one either. We got pick 11. San Francisco 49ers go with Mike Green, edge, Adam Marshall. The Niners really haven't done a whole lot when it's come to free agency. Really no big sign-ins, really just clearing cap space, and they're probably looking to stack, retool the trenches in this draft, whether it be on the offensive or the defensive line. They could do that with the defensive line in the first round, whether it's on the inside or the outside. I think we're both are fine options. In this case, Mike Green would be probably the top edge player or top defensive line player available. So I like the pick up here to pair up with Nick Bosa. Pick 12, you got the Cowboys going with Derek Harmon. Hold the phone. This mock was done March 12th. Today is March 12th. Cowboys going with Derek Harmon, but we're in here talking about a potential replacement for Osa Odighizuwa. If you were to leave in free agency, he's already been extended. But I mean, you're still trying to find a run stuff next to him, if we're being honest. That's the unfortunate part. Osa, great at rushing the passer. Cowboys, not great at stopping the run. Mozzie Smith looking like a bust. Getting Derek Harmon, someone who can push the pocket, coming in to help stop the run for Matt Eberflus and company. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. it would be really hard to pass on. I think some offensive help, whether you call that Luther Burden, Matt Golden, you got Ashton Genty. I think that would be hard to pass up on for the Cowboys. But here we are. Here we are. Miami Dolphins, they go Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. This is wild. Okay, just read this sucker. Javon Holland is out. Starks is in. Yeah, Holland is out. Signed with the Giants. Like, but how are we talking about Osa Odigizua like he was leaving? He just got extended for 4 years. I don't know. Regardless, I get it. We need safety. We have no one. Like, who are, like, Ifatu Melifonwu? Or is that the Dolphins safeties? Let's go to Dolphins depth chart. That's where I want to go. Take me there. Poyer's not back, right? Yeah, no, he's a free agent. We brought in Ashton Davis. Whoop-de-doo. We got Patrick McMorris again. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not excited about it. I got a fruit fly here that I'm trying to kill. If only I had a safety to come in here and layeth the boom to this fruit fly. So yeah, I mean, safety, I get it. I still would love to be able to protect Tua. Like, James Daniels, good addition. We need someone to play left guard. Like, we could find that in free agency. We could find that via the draft. We could do that day too. And I get it. If you don't want to pass on a guy like Starks, like, people overreact to the testing. When it came to the field drills, he was either 1 or 2 in terms of speed. He moves exceptionally well. He's someone for Anthony Weaver. You can move in the slot, you can move in the box, deep, or even out wide in some cases. So there is a lot of fun that can be had with Malachi Starks. Indianapolis Colts go with Tyler Booker, guard, out of Alabama. And golly, dude, Tyler Warren's still on the board? That's interesting. So they addressed their secondary. I think edge could be in the cards, but like, Tyler Booker's a good fit. I actually mentioned this in yesterday's Mock the Mock, that he could come in and just feel like you lost Will Fries, you'll replace him with Tyler Booker. I do think with Matt Goncalves, or Goncalves, however you say his last name, I think he's probably the plan at right tackle when they eventually move off from Braden Smith, if that happens. I don't think Dalton Tucker's a guy. I'd rather develop him, keep him as a backup. If you want to keep the run game, keep it as a strong part of this offense. If you want to ensure you're protecting, I don't know, Danny Dimes, Anthony Richardson, then yeah, you probably want to shore up that right guard spot in the draft. So I don't know if you pass on Tyler Warren though. Pick 15, Atlanta Falcons go with Jalen Walker, edge/linebacker out of Georgia. It's pass rush. The Falcons need pass rush. You're going to see every mock give them pass rush. Arizona Cardinals go with Shamar Stewart, defensive line out of Texas A&M. Straight up, I think the Cardinals, they've had a little bit of an underwhelming free agency. I was kind of hoping they would go in a little bit harder on the defensive line. They bring in Joshua Sweat. That's awesome. They need more horses. You get a versatile body like Sweat who can work inside and outside, primarily outside though. And I think that's a good pull. I think this is a good fit. Cincinnati Bengals, they go with Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think with the addition of TJ Slayton, you might want to focus on bringing in another pass rusher. James Pierce Jr. is still out there. Mikael Williams went at 8. So I think it would just be James Pierce Jr. because Mike Green's off the board as well. Might be forgetting another potential edge player somewhere there, but like, I don't know. If you're going to move Trey Hendrickson, you got to find pass rush on the outside. I mean, they also brought back BJ Hill. So you drafted in the second round a year ago, Chris Jenkins. I don't think I'm going to the interior. Seattle Seahawks, they go with Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. What a fall for Warren here. Great pickup. Like, I talked about how I didn't love just Colston Loveland with this pick, but if Tyler Warren's there, that's hard to pass up. No fans only got another year on the contract. Kind of is what it is. I think you probably want to go in a receiver or maybe offensive line, but there's no denying the value. Tyler Warren's definitely probably the best player available. So he goes to the Seahawks here, be the security blanket, the safety blanket from, or at least for, Sam Darnold. Pick 19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers go with Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. This one's kind of a no-brainer. You brought back Levante David, but there's really not much next to him. They bring in Hassan Reddick to play the edge, so Campbell's going to be a very popular landing spot, I think, for the Buccaneers. Denver Broncos, some way, somehow, get Ashton Jeanty here at pick 20. If you're the Broncos, man, call it a day. You had a heck of an off season. You just went ahead and loaded up on a defense that was already freaking great. Maybe you get Evan Ingram, maybe you don't. I'm sure you got other picks. You could address pass catchers on day 2. You get your running back in the future, running behind a really good offensive line. I like it. I love it. Pick 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. They wouldn't mind Ashton Jeanty, but they're going to go with Jahdae Barron. They did acquire Darius Slayton. Not official, but it will be in about another hour. We'll get the contract details of that as well. I don't buy into it. I mean, he's a one-year stopgap. Find that guy of the future to pair up with Joey Porter Jr. Jahdae Barron gives you a lot of versatility. I think he might go higher than this. I really do. Pick 22, Los Angeles Chargers go with Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. If they miss out on Evan Ingram, because he did visit with the Chargers after the Broncos, then yeah, Loveland would be awesome. You get to reunite him with Jim Harbaugh. You get a pass catcher for Justin Herbert. You're feeling good. You're in a good situation. All right, pick 23. This is the Packers, right? Packers go with Kelvin Banks, tackle/guard out of Texas. Golly, man. So Josh Myers might end up coming back on a cheap deal. Seems like nobody wants him. They did get Aaron Banks. I feel like you've went out, you've already addressed the offensive line. Maybe you grab Banks to be the heir apparent to Rashid Walker, because you're like, we're probably not going to be able to pay him. Probably going to have to let him hit free agency. Would rather keep Zach Tom. Both those guys are free agents. So I can see it. With Matthew Golden on the board, that's probably where I want to go. Even Luther Burden, I think, would be fun here. But yeah, I think Golden's probably the guy I'd want. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. They go with Savone Revel, corner at East Carolina. I love seeing him still get a little first round hype. He's going to be in my top 50, but like, man, I think he would have been a easy first rounder if he didn't get hurt and was afforded the offseason draft process. The Vikings, they very well don't have to be done at corner. They brought in Isaiah Rodgers. They brought back Byron Murphy, so you could certainly still address corner here and be a-okay. Marion Hampton would definitely be seductive. I would be tempted. Vikings, ultimately, I wouldn't mind moving back, maybe getting more picks on day 2. That would be nice. Houston Texans go with Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver at Ohio State. Straight up, I think Texans are going with offensive linemen. I don't know if that's interior. I don't know if that's tackle. Their offense, after you traded Laramie Tunsil, Shaq Mason's gone. This offensive line, instantly, you just look at it on paper and it feels like one of the worst offensive lines in football. It played like that last year. I don't think the remedy to that was, well, let's just trade our best player. And Texans fans, I get it. It's your team. You're going to defend it. And you make some great points, but at the end of the day, it's like he was a top 5, top 3 tackle in the league. Oh, but he committed so many penalties that killed drives. I think you put up with the penalties with him having like, I think he was like tied for 4th best win rate among tackles last season. He's been in the top 4 of win rates among tackles the last 3 seasons. It just doesn't feel like a good move. It just doesn't. Maybe in hindsight we'll be saying something different, but I get it. Go to bat for your team. I think I would probably be taking a tackle here though. Los Angeles Rams, they go with Josh Connerly Jr., tackle out of Oregon. And I think you could make you would have sold many people on this pick prior to Alaric Jackson being re-signed. But I think low key, if you're looking to add depth on the offensive line and look for a cheap alternative to Rob Havenstein after this next season, I don't think that's a bad option. I really don't. Like, I know people are like, we need linebacker, we need corner. Well, we've seen I don't know if there is a second linebacker that is first round worthy. Some of these corners have question marks. It might be better to get into that on day 2. So like, you can make a case like, hey, Connerly Jr. is one of our top guys on the board, and we could develop him for a year and have him be our plan to move on from Havenstein. Again, the NFL draft isn't free agency 2.0. It is truly trying to gear up for the future. Baltimore Ravens go with Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman out of Ohio State. You could immediately slot this dude in at left guard, call it a day. Or maybe eventually when Ronnie Stanley, because I'm sure, I know he signed a 3-year deal. I'm guessing he's probably likely done after 2 years. That's going to be my guess, but you could develop him as the potential heir apparent while he plays at left guard. I actually kind of like that quite a bit. Detroit Lions go with JT Tuimoloau, edge out of Ohio State. Some people really like Tuimoloau. The dude has great tools. It's just unfortunate with him that ever since having that huge game against Penn State like 2 years ago, he never really had the consistent or breakout season after that. Like last year was the closest we got to it, but I don't know if it was like a first round worthy, like, yeah, no, throw this guy in the first round. We'll see what his testing is. I still think he's a top 50 prospect. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. The Lions would love a guy. Like, I think he brings to the table a lot of the things the Lions like in terms of like size, tools, versatility, play strength. So I think there's a lot to like about him from a Lions perspective. Washington Commanders, they go with Marion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. Okay, this is fascinating. Brian Robinson's a free agent next season. He's had a nasty case of getting beat up here and there. If you plan on not re-signing Marion Hampton, Brian Robinson, this isn't at all a bad shout out, not a bad call. So I don't think I mind it. I don't. I mean, you could say corner. Could be somewhere you address, maybe somewhere along the defensive line. But I don't hate Hampton here. Pick 30, Buffalo Bills get Nick Emmanuel, safety out of South Carolina. So as of the day I'm recording this, they re-signed DeMar Hamlin. They bring in Derek Forrest, which it's a 1-year deal. I believe the Bills brought in Derek Forrest, who I really liked. He just kind of like injuries last year on top of he just wasn't the guy in Dan Quinn's system. He just wasn't. So it's like he kind of like lost his spot there. But if you remember a few years ago, like he was a really solid safety. He really was. And now I'm not saying that, okay, just because they bring back on Hamlin, they bring in Forrest on a 1-year deal, that those are the guys, right? But it does lead me to want to maybe go the corner route. But if Emmanuel, you have him higher than any of the corners you have currently, I don't mind going after and getting just this absolute physical specimen. Kansas City Chiefs, they grab Ariante Ursary, offensive lineman out of Minnesota. Now, the Chiefs don't have to be out on offensive tackle. Like, they bring in Jalen Moore, who is very unproven, 2 years. But you look to that right tackle spot with Jawan Taylor, and it's like, yeah, we're going to get cheaper, and it's going to be because we're going to let you go eventually. Like, you haven't had the kindest stay here in Kansas City. So you're going to be very quickly looking at right tackle as a need as well. And that's assuming things work out with Moore at left tackle, which I think they will. I really liked him coming into the draft. I think he was out of Western Michigan. And when he had to step up when Trent Williams missed games, he was solid. So I have some enthusiasm with him. So I don't think this is out of the realm of possibility. I just don't. And then with the final pick, we got the Pittsburgh. Golly, it's always the Philadelphia Steelers and the Pittsburgh Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, they go with Marcus Bowe, offensive lineman out of Purdue. I believe he has experience on both sides of the line. I know he has experience at tackle and guard. I think immediately you're probably getting him to compete at right guard, but maybe he can be an heir apparent for Lane Johnson. And I mean, you bring him in and you got the best offensive line coach in football in Stoutland. A lot of people are high on Bowe just when it comes to what he brings to the table from strength and athleticism. So him going this high, I don't think he might not be my cup of tea. I see him more as a third rounder, but I get that many people are very high on him. They have him as a top 50 prospect. So it's like, again, not out of the realm of possibility. You could also vouch for like going with the defensive line here after the losses of Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, but they've kind of been preparing for those losses. We saw Moro Jamo kind of get more of a bigger role and did well in that. Jalen Hunt really had a very good Super Bowl, so maybe he's that next guy. Then again, you still want to retool and bring in some other players that you can develop in those spots, maybe, but you don't necessarily have to do it in round one. But okay, this was a fascinating mock with some question marks. But I mean, that's a mock at the end of the day. We're going to question everything we see. Let me know what were some of your favorite picks and what picks you absolutely hated the hell out of in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Special thanks to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.